Welcome everyone, I'm Amy. I am an NPC fit model competitor. I'm also a nutritional therapy practitioner, and this is my 1 week out vlog. So my next vlog will be my peak week vlog, which is, I'm gonna say it, it's crazy, but it's also exciting. So I do have some fun things to talk about in this intro. I'm gonna talk about feedback from my coach from the week. Also, I will talk about the NPC seminar that I attended yesterday. And also, I teased this in the outro of my last week video that I have a new product that I am an affiliate for, which I am super excited to talk about. So let's first talk about feedback from my coach. So last night, I got feedback from Aaron. He wants me to run my high carb day today. So it's been a few weeks since I've done a high carb day. He took them out several weeks ago. It was just having me run my regular days and my low days. But this week, or today, he wants me to do the high carb day, which is also my rest day. So I did text him back after I listened to his message. I'm like, "You sure you want me to do the high carb day? Because it's my rest day. And typically my rest day is my low day." And he said, "Yep, go for it." He wanted pictures of me fasted this morning and then after meal 2. So after I get done recording this video, I'm going to eat meal 2 and send Aaron pictures, because I did send him fasted pictures this morning. So that was exciting news. When I was doing cardio this morning, I was literally like dreaming about my breakfast because I had started it before I ran down to do cardio. I had 200 grams of blueberries, which is a lot, and then 50 grams of raw weight rice cooked up, and also my protein shake. Oh, it was so good. It was just this big, amazing bowl of blueberries and rice, and I just put some salt on it. Oh, it was heavenly. It was so delicious. So that was a super fun way to start the day, a carb-filled day. So it'll be really good. Going for about 300 grams of carbs today, so nothing like insanely crazy, but I mentioned in my check-in from the week, which was in my outro from last week, that I felt like I had, just a lot of like laxity on the back of my legs and thighs, or on my butt and thighs. And he said that, potentially that could just be muscle that needs to be filled out. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm most interested to see how I look tomorrow. So the other thing he wants me to do is send him fasted weights every day, and also check-in pictures on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of the week. Fasted, and then also post-workout. So that is not a big difference because I work out early. So I did tell him that too. It's like, well, these pictures are only going to be like 2 hours apart, but I'm totally fine doing that. It will be interesting too, because obviously the pictures I take at 4 a.m. are going to be in the dark, so I have to use my ring light. Whereas when I get back from the gym, the sun will be up and I can do pictures of natural light, which is usually, what I try to do for my check-in pictures. So, I think the ring light pictures tend to make me look leaner than I actually am, whereas the natural daylight, you kind of can't hide from natural light. So it'll be interesting to see how those look side by side too. So that'll be really good. So I will do that tomorrow, send in pictures this afternoon and then tomorrow morning and see how I look. The other thing that I didn't tell him that, because I did know that, but I didn't know it when I did my check-in, is that I did find out about timing of the show a little bit more. So that was really it. That was the only changes or only feedback was just that. So that was really the only thing different, the additional check-ins, and then also the high carb day today. So yesterday I went to the NPC seminar, which was great. It was for novice or first time competitors, so there wasn't a whole lot of interesting stuff from that standpoint, but it's always good just to get in front of the promoters and see the head judge. And I was also able to talk to the tanning company, which was great because they gave me awesome insights into the size of the show. And that was really, one of the things I wanted to kind of know was, especially with 2 shows running on the same day, like how big are these shows going to be? Because when I looked on the website at the competitor list from last year, it was a huge show last year, the Northern Colorado Championships. So it was a really big show. So I was expecting it would be that big, but he said so far, the numbers, this was the tanning service, he said so far the numbers are actually pretty low, which there's more competitors right now signed up for the natural competition, which makes sense because you can't do a last minute sign up for the natural because you have to be polygraphed. So that takes time. They do all their polygraphs the week, like during peak week. So you can't sign up last minute. So those athletes have to plan a little bit further in advance, whereas you could do, you can literally just sign up the day of, or the day before, to do the regular NPC show. That's totally fine. Like, you're allowed to do that. But with the natural show, you can't because you're polygraphed. So I think that's probably why right now, at least, there are more athletes in the natural show than there are in the regular show, but I'm sure that will change. I asked the tanning company, we actually were texting back and forth a little bit this morning about how many people they tend to see sign up in the last couple of weeks, because this is a new thing to me to be like signing up, 10 days before a show or a week and a half before a show. Usually I sign up, about 3 to 4 weeks at least prior, wanting to make sure that you're still going to do that show and that your coach is okay with it and that nothing's gone wrong with your prep. I mean, I wouldn't suggest signing up for a show weeks and weeks in advance, but I also can't see people waiting until like the last minute like I am. But he did say that, they usually see at least 20 competitors sign up kind of in that last week. So that could still really change the size of the show, which is good. I asked, this was the big question, this is what I need to make sure I tell Aaron about. I asked the order of divisions, and Jeff Taylor, who runs the show, he said he's going to have FitModel go first. So I'm glad I asked, because like I said, there have been one show this season where it did go first, but all the rest I've seen, it's gone last. And Dylan Armbrust, who runs some of the other shows in the state, who's also the head judge, he said at his shows, the shows that he puts on, he's going to have it be last. So if you are considering doing FitModel, I would highly recommend you try and find that out, because that's going to change, when you have your hair and makeup appointments, when you need to get your tan. I mean, that's the most important thing, especially for the tanning companies to know. Like, I've never been first. When I go in and get my tan, you sign up for your final coat the next day. I always pick the latest time. I think at one of my shows, was it my first show of the season? I signed up for my top coat of tan at like 10 a.m. And I still didn't go on stage until like 12:30. So I'm going to have to sign up for an early tan time, which is also very new for me. So they'll do all the men's divisions first and then FitModel. So I'm not going to be the last person on stage. I will still be probably the last person of the category of FitModel, but I will not be the last competitor. So that's going to be a new thing for me also. So I'm really glad I asked, and I definitely will, let Aaron know that as well. And I also need to probably adjust the timing with Patty for my makeup on Saturday, because I'll need to do it a good hour earlier. And I am going to verify with Jeff that he does mean that it's the first of the women's categories, because very first in the show is usually fitness. Like, if there is a fitness competitor, they always go first, even before the men. That's how it's run at like all shows. Fitness goes first because they have a routine and they have to change clothes. There's a lot more involved in their routine, so they let them go first. Yeah, so that's going to be really interesting, and not being like just dead last off a stage is going to be really interesting too. So that was worth it alone. I mean, obviously that's super important information to know. So that was really good. I got to talk to Dylan, who is the head judge. I also chatted with the tan company about needing to make sure my suit gets glued appropriately, and let them also gave them a heads up that they're going to have a little bit more probably intense gluing needs for these FitModel suits. This is the first time that they're spraying a FitModel show. So it's new for them too. It's new for all of us. So yeah, that was good. I am feeling a little bit more comfortable with the posing as the week has gone on, and as I've had a chance to kind of assimilate it and practice it and kind of get it in my head a little bit. One of the things I did say to Dylan yesterday was my biggest fear is going up and accidentally doing my bikini posing routine instead of my FitModel posing routine. So that still is a concern of mine. Just when you get a little nervous and all of a sudden like, oh gosh, what am I even doing? So practice is the way to resolve that. So lots of practice this week. I have not signed up for a second session with Tori, but I'm definitely going to. I'm either going to do it toward the end of the week or early next week, like on peak week. The hard part is if you try and do it too close to show, at least what I've found, I mean, it's different for bikini because those would be like little things I could adjust. It's almost like you don't have time to get the changes into your muscle memory. So I'd rather do it this week and then have like a whole week to practice, because I feel like just if it's last minute changes, I don't want to end up kind of confusing myself or kind of wasting the posing session because I'm not able to put into practice the things I need to. So that is where I'm at with that. So let's talk about what I teased at the end of the last video, which is that I am an affiliate for a company. So at the Arnold, there's tons of booths with different companies, supplement companies, gym clothes, solar panels. I mean, there's kind of everything. So one of the companies, Colin, who does the AB Live podcast with me, he said that these David bars were really delicious. And I think I'd kind of like seen them in the periphery, like on social media probably. Didn't really know a whole lot about them, but I went up at when I was Wonder Woman and met the owner, Reza, who was so nice, and I was so impressed. So the bars are, and there's going to be a link in the description box below, and also I'll put my affiliate link here in the description, and then my code also on the screen. So they are the David protein bars. I have the salted peanut butter flavor, and then this one is so good. The blueberry pie flavor. They are all delicious. They have a brownie flavor, they have a cake batter flavor, chocolate chip cookie dough, and then there's also a peanut butter chocolate. Every single flavor is delicious. The salted peanut, the thing I love about it is it actually is salty. So is the blueberry. That's what I really love. They have that hit of salt. But what cannot be beat on these bars is the macros. And I have a challenging time recommending protein bars. As delicious as they are, most of them are kind of like a glorified candy bar. The other thing that is a problem with most of them is that a lot of them have extremely high fiber. And it's a fiber from a non-digestible fiber source. So they do that to try and make the net carbs lower. So they just will add 20 grams of fiber that's not digestible, that's going to mess up your gut. And then also the rest of the ingredients are not going to be absorbed very well because of all that fiber. So these bars are not like that. So the macro breakdown on these, they're 150 calories, and it's a hearty bar. It's a big size bar. 150 calories, only 2 grams of fat, 14 carbs, less than 1 gram of fiber. So these are not fiber carbs. Those are just the real carbs, and 28 grams of protein, which is incredible. And the bioavailability, or the protein to calorie ratio in this, is about 75%, versus a lot of other protein bars on the market are 40% or even lower. I mean, this is up there with fish as far as the amount of protein, the protein per calorie, essentially. The other great thing is the ingredients are real food ingredients. So it's milk protein isolate, collagen, whey protein concentrate, and egg whites. So if you do have an egg allergy, you cannot have these. Then there is maltitol, glycerin, allulose, tapioca starch, a little bit of peanut flour, and then salt, sucralose. There is ACE-K, Dutch processed cocoa powder in this one. So they do contain milk, peanut, soy, egg, may contain sesame and tree nuts. So if you have nut allergies, these are also not going to be a great option for you. I think in the peanut or the blueberry one is going to say the same thing. May contain peanut, sesame, and tree nuts. It doesn't have the peanut flour in this one because it's not the peanut butter flavor. But I was so impressed, mostly with the taste. They have a really, the texture of them is not like other protein bars. It's really soft. It has these little kind of crunchy bits in it, but the rest of the bar is just so soft. And there's actually chunks, this one has these chunks of peanut butter almost in it. And the blueberry one has little chunks of white chocolate in it. They are so delicious. I was so impressed. And mostly I was just impressed with, like I said, the macro breakdown, but also just meeting Reza. They were so nice. They were so genuine, and really strive as a company to make a bar that is nutritious and filling. And I was really impressed with the company. So I reached out to Reza afterward. In my email, I said, "You may remember me. I was Wonder Woman on Friday." So, I said, as a nutritional therapist, it's hard for me to find a bar that I can recommend to people that isn't just full of garbage ingredients, that actually is real protein, not soy protein, or not some, just fake mix of fibers and gums, essentially, that are just going to bloat you and just not be digested well. So I was so impressed. Like I said, it is an affiliate link. So if you use the link, you can get, if you sign up to do the subscribe and save, you actually get a free sample pack of all the flavors, which is awesome. And they always do buy 4 boxes, get 1 free. And free shipping, your first order, you get free shipping no matter what. So even if you order 1 box, you get free shipping, which is great. And the subscribe and save with them is a great deal also, because you save per month. And like I said, you do get that free sample pack. So recommend all their flavors. They are all delicious. I mean, in fact, it's hard to even pick a favorite. They are all so good. The blueberry is pretty high up there though, just because it's such an unusual flavor to find in a protein bar. It's just different. It's not like your basic chocolate or vanilla or peanut butter. I mean, as much as the peanut butter is delicious, so is the peanut butter chocolate chip. The brownie is good, like the cake batter, they're all really good. So you cannot go wrong with any of the flavors. So if you need a bar, and the shelf life on these is pretty long. Like these ones expire January of 26, but they say you can extend their life by putting them in the fridge or the freezer. So if you don't eat bars very often, even if they're within the expiration date, maybe just throw the whole box in the freezer. That's what I do when I get protein bars, is I throw them in the freezer. And then I just will take one out and put it in my bag if I know I'm gonna need it that day, or if I think I might need it. Or I keep one in my desk drawer, but then the rest are just in the freezer. So that's the new company that I am an affiliate with, and I'm super excited. I really feel like I can stand behind this bar, which is not something I can say about all bars or most bars. Ironically enough, the booth that was next to us at the expo was Quest Nutrition. And at one point, I was kind of chatting with the woman over, there's just a little barrier in between us, and I'd offered her a cookie because I brought all these cookies, and she asked me if they were protein cookies. I'm like, no, these are legit cookies. These are cookies. Have a cookie. And she's like, oh, no. She goes, but do you want a bar? I'm like, oh, sure, I would love a bar. So she told me what flavors they had. Well, she hands it to me, and it was funny because Cullen, again, was sitting next to me. And I flip up the ingredient panel, or the nutrition information. This bar had 11 grams of fat, and 8 grams of that was saturated fat. And I'm like, she wouldn't eat a homemade cookie, but she's eating this? So yeah, a lot of bars out there are just, at best, a glorified candy bar. In some instances, you would be better off literally eating a Snickers bar with a scoop of protein powder. More tasty and more filling and better for you. So if you need bars, no pressure at all. You can also buy these directly from, Amazon or the website without using my link. No pressure at all. But my link is in the description box below. And like I said, it is a company that I really stand behind. So if you do have questions about them, please leave those in the comments below. I'm happy to answer them to my best of my ability. And if I don't know, I know who I can get the answer from. I think that's it for the intro. This week, I don't really have anything planned except for eating a whole lot of carbs today and sending a lot of check-in pictures in the morning to my coach. Hopefully I will get a posing session in with Tori at some point. She competed yesterday in fitmodel and came in second in her category and just looked stunning. She wore this beautiful, I think it was maybe a plum colored suit, but it looked stunning on her. And she was really pleased with how everything went, and the feedback that she got from the judges was just, that her conditioning was perfect, and just, they wanted just a little bit more of some stuff, and that was it. So she's off to a great start for her season. I think it was her 4th show of the season, so she is clearly going to do extremely well in the fitmodel division, and I'm sure be a pro by the end of the season, for sure. She's incredible. So that's it for the intro. I appreciate you all for being here, coming along for the ride for whatever is coming up in my 1 week out vlog. Next week is peak week. So this is an extremely sped up, condensed version of my posing session with Tori this week. I don't know why I have this weird Alfred Hitchcock-esque angle. This camera is self-leveling. It's a gimbal, and I don't know what I did to get my head chopped off and at this cockeyed angle, but it is what it is. So I'm like the, the Headless Horseman? Headless poser? But it was a great session, and we refined a lot of things and just kind of were able to talk some stuff out. It was great. She actually took 45 minutes with me, which was amazing. I did end up sending her an additional payment afterward just because she spent a little extra time with me, which was so great. And then I did a little bit of posing on my own after the session was over, just to kind of try and solidify things. This is much more slowed down, just to kind of show you the little subtleties of the changes that I was making, and actually get a head-on shot, or a straight-on shot with my head in it. And we're back. It is the end of the week. It is time for the recap. We're going to talk a little bit about coaches' feedback throughout the week. It's a little bit different than usual, or just different format than usual. And also, I'm going to talk about the NPC seminar that I went to last weekend. and what my plans are for peak week. Oh my gosh, so the next vlog you guys see is gonna be my peak week vlog. And I don't know if it's gonna be a combo. In the past, I've usually done my show day and peak week as like one video, but we'll see how it goes. It's gonna be a little bit different show day this time, so I might break them up. We'll just kind of see, but we'll talk about it. So let's first talk about the NPC seminar. So I went to the NPC seminar last weekend and it was great. You know, it was really geared toward new or first-time competitors, but since I am a first-time fit model competitor, I figured it'd be great to go to and to get, you know, some in-face or face-to-face with the judges and also with the show promoter, and, you know, just to be part of the community. It was really great. The gym that the event was hosted at is called Lion's Lair. It's down in Colorado Springs, which is about an hour or so drive. It wasn't terrible. It was actually really nice weather that day, but the wind was blowing like insanely hard on the way back, like treacherous winds. But other than that, it was an easy drive. And it was really great. So Jeff Taylor is the person who puts on all of the shows here in Colorado. So he was kind of leading it. And then Dylan Armbrust, who's one of the head judges, he's also he's a national and actually worldwide judge as well. So he does travel internationally to judge. He was a men's bodybuilding competitor, and now he owns a local gym. It's actually a really great gym, and if it was not like an hour each way to get there, I would love to be able to work out there on a regular basis, but it was really great. So they both kind of chatted a bit and put us through like a little mock show day, which was really fun. And the big thing, I could have found this information out without going, but it was really great information to find out, is the show order. So I think I've mentioned before, typically, I assumed that fit model would go last, but I've seen shows doing fit model first. So typically at a show, you know, they'll do all the men's categories. Well, they'll do fitness, which is a women's category. Fitness will usually go first because they have a really complicated floor routine that they do in the night show. And also they have to change their costume or their outfit into their costume. So their timing is a little bit different. So if there are fitness competitors, they always go first, regardless of the show. And then they do all the men's categories typically, and this is at an NPC show. It's different at pro shows. So they do fitness, all the men's categories, and then they will usually go figure, wellness, bikini. So I was assuming that it was either going to go, you know, figure, wellness, bikini, fit model, or there have been a couple of shows this year where they've done fit model, figure, wellness, bikini. So I was able to ask Jeff and Dylan, you know, because Dylan puts on shows here as well. And in fact, the next show of the season is one of the Dylan shows. Jeff is putting fit model first. Dylan is putting fit model last. So totally different. And that would totally change like your show day. I mean, for me, that's a difference of hours of time on stage, based on how many competitors there are. I mean, at my first bikini show of the season last year, I think I went on stage around like 12:30 maybe as the very last bikini competitor. And where if I had been fit model, like if I'd gone on, you know, when the first figure competitor went on stage, that would have been hours earlier. So much earlier that a friend of mine who competed in figure had competed, gone out to lunch with her family and was back before I even went on stage. Like that's how long we're talking. So that is huge. So especially if you are competing in fit model this season, I would highly recommend verifying that with the show promoter before you book things like your tan, your makeup, all of that stuff. And even my tan, like usually, you know, when I get my top coat, I pick the last available time, because I don't need to add stress to anybody's day by, you know, them not getting a time that they need because they have they're getting on stage before me. So I always just pick like the latest one, you know, and it's usually like 10, because as a bikini competitor, they know I'm not going on stage until like at least 11, and the top coat dries really quickly. So it's not like you need a lot of time, and you're wearing your bikini at that point. So, you know, you're pretty much ready to go on stage as soon as you're dry. So that is going to be much different. And I'm sure that the tanning company was made aware of that, you know, so they could have provided some guidance. But if I didn't talk to them and they didn't tell me, and I'd picked a late top coat, I mean, I could miss the show. I could miss getting on stage. So really, really good to know that. That does also change timing with my makeup on the show day. I'm going to see my nail tech on Monday, and that's Patty. She's also going to be doing my makeup, which is amazing. But it does mean we'll have to do it a little bit earlier in the day than I was anticipating. You know, she has been with me for so long now, she kind of knows the routine with the shows that I go on last. But going on first, that's really going to change show timing quite a bit. It does seem like this show might be a little bit on the smaller side. Last year, it was a very large show. This year, though, it's looking to be, maybe half the size that it was last year. And I wonder how much of that is being influenced by the fact that there is, the regular NPC show and then the natural show right in the middle. And it was funny at the event, the couple of the judge, Dylan, and also Jeff said, well, why don't you just do fit model in one show and bikini in the other, because you can do that. You cannot cross over in the same show. So I couldn't do figure and bikini at the same show. But because they're not technically the same show, I could, but I would not be able to pass the drug testing for the natural because I do take thyroid and I've been on HRT for many years. So I would not qualify for that. Even just my thyroid medication, which is prescribed by my doctor and has been for almost a decade now, I wouldn't qualify. I'd have to get a special rider, and there'd just be no time to get all of that stuff done. So, and I'm not about competing in a tested regular or federation if I'm not meeting the category. I'm really not. I've used substances that would ban me from being on being acceptable. So, and I'm not going to lie about that. And you have to take a lie detector test. So why would I do that? I see nothing wrong with people doing whatever they want, but if you're going to compete in a natural federation, you should be natural. Like, you should not try and cheat your way in. That's just not fair to the other competitors who work really hard and aren't cheating to get in. So that's how I feel about that. So anyway, the show is going to be pretty interesting because, as I mentioned, they're going to do pre-judging for the regular show, and then they're going to run the natural show. They call it they have a name for it, where they basically just run straight from finals into pre-judging, or from pre-judging into finals. So they'll do that show right in the middle, and then they'll start finals. So I'm not sure how much longer the day will be because of that. It does mean that the show is starting about an hour earlier in the morning, and the night show is starting about an hour later than the shows I've typically done here in Colorado. So there's definitely some, the judges need to eat and go to the bathroom and do other things. So they can't make them sit there for just 12 hours straight. But I assume that the show will probably run at least 12 hours. It starts at 8, and my assumption would be that it will probably not get done until 7 or 8 o'clock at night. But we'll see. It depends on how many competitors are there, and I won't really know that for sure until I go to register, or until I go to the check-in on Friday. So I do have my tan scheduled. It's actually pretty early in the day tan, which is great. It gives me more time to dry. There's nothing worse than trying to go to sleep when your tan is still really sticky, and it takes a couple hours before it's really dry. Like, it feels really sticky for quite a while. So that's actually kind of nice. And the weather all of last week, or all of this week leading up to today, has been like gorgeous. It's been in the low 70s a couple of days and just sunny, windy, but really beautiful. All this week, today, it was pouring rain this morning. Show day, it's supposed to be snowing. And I've lucked out. Doing fall shows, I've not ever had an issue with snow on show day. This might be the first time, and snow wouldn't be bad, but it's rain that's really a problem, because you've got your makeup all on and your tan. If one little drop of water gets on that tan, it's going to show. So the thing that's kind of a bummer about that is that I usually like to be able to go out to the car, in between the show times, or sit outside and get some sun. That does not seem like it's going to be a possibility next weekend, but it is Colorado, and we have a joke that is absolutely true that says, if you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes. And that is true. However, it does seem like this storm that's coming is looking like it's going to be a pretty intense storm. So we'll probably get some type of weather at some point in the day. We'll just see. Competitors deal with this. There were some shows during lockdown that were done outside in tents in the pouring rain, and their competitors' tans were just getting trashed. So makes for extra work for the tanning company if you do not take care of your tan. So I'll try my best if it is rainy or wet weather to not mess up my tan, so that they don't have to continue to fix it. One of the other things that was great that I was able to discuss with the tanning company when I was at the seminar was about the suit bottoms, because as I mentioned, they are baggy, they are quite big. Even though I'm filling out a lot, so I need to try them on again. They're going to be a little more snug than they were the last time I put them on. But they're definitely going to need to be glued, and glued pretty aggressively. It's interesting. There were a bunch of fit model shows today that I was watching, and ooh, some of the coverage, I'm shocked. They had said that they were going to be so much stricter with the back coverage, and that if competitors were showing up with suits that did not meet the 50% coverage, that they were going to like remove them from the stage. And that has not happened. And I saw some cuts today that were absolutely a bikini cut on a FitModel competitor. So it's disheartening and it's tough, you know, because I don't love the cut of this bottom either, but I'm going to wear it because it's what's required of this category, and I'm going to get used to it. I'm going to love it. So interesting to see how this is all playing out. And it'll be really interesting to see who shows up on my show day. But either way, some glue is going to be necessary to keep those bottoms from getting swallowed up by my glutes or falling down. So this should be interesting, but it was great. I was able to talk to Zane and Christina, who run Elite Tanning here in Colorado, who are just incredible. Like, they are so amazing. They're the hardest working people I know. I don't even know how they do it. They tan from before sunup to before sundown. And they start tanning people at like 4 o'clock in the morning and don't stop until every single competitor is done and off stage. It is remarkable. Like, they keep a tent up literally until the last competitor goes on stage, because if someone has something happen, they're there to touch it up. They're there to do glaze. They're there to do glue as people are literally walking up onto stage. So they work incredibly hard. They are amazing. So that was the seminar in a nutshell. It was great. Let's talk about how check-ins have gone this week, because they have been different. So my coach is on vacation this week. I think he left Wednesday, so just a couple of days ago. Had I known my coach was going to be on vacation the week of my show, I may have thought twice about doing it, just because it is my first time doing this category, my first time doing a peak with my coach. All of this is very new for me, so I probably would not have done it. But that doesn't even matter, because here we are. And Aaron is amazing. I mean, he's been very communicative, but it makes me feel kind of bad about reaching out to him. But at the beginning of the week, so my feedback on Saturday, I think I probably talked about this last week or in my intro, that he wanted me to check in Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, pre and post workout. And even though I told him my pre and post workout will only be a couple hours apart, that's what he asked for. So that's what I did. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. My weight dropped really rapidly for a couple of days. So I was having those high carb days. So he had me continue to run high carb days Sunday, Monday, and then he and I didn't check in on Tuesday, and then he left on Wednesday. So my weight came down. So by, Wednesday, or Tuesday was the day it was really low. So from Tuesday to yesterday, I actually skyrocketed up in weight 6 pounds, which I'm trying really hard not to be concerned about, but it is really weird, because this is not how I typically am in, the week leading up to my show. You don't want to see your weight go up 6 pounds. I mean, that's a pretty large percentage of weight for me to gain. I also, though, was dealing with some just kind of systemic inflammation on Friday morning when the weight was up that high. I actually woke up Friday morning, and my right eye was like completely swollen shut, and it's still not great. It's better than it was yesterday, but it's not great. I wasn't even sure I'd be able to get my contact in. It was so weird. Like, I woke up to go to the bathroom and I'm like, why can't I see? And I was like, I wear a sleeping mask, and I thought maybe my sleep mask was pushing it down so I couldn't open it. And then I reached up and I'm like, well, no, I've already taken it off. I'm like, what is happening? So I turned the light on. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, whew. Like, eye was like swollen shut, and the left eye was pretty swollen as well. So I don't know what was going on there. It was pretty uncomfortable, and like I said, it still does not feel great. I have been having some other issues with this eye. I really need to go to the eye doctor, but the swelling was intense. And it still feels like it's maybe about 25% swollen. So that's been interesting. So I was definitely having some other just inflammation. I could kind of feel it too, like in my low back felt really watery, and I was holding some water for sure. So I feel like I'd maybe spilled, which is not a sensation I'd ever really felt before, like that we'd pushed the carbs so far that I'd just kind of like topped off and spilled over a little bit. Weight this morning was back down just a little bit, like half a pound or so. And I feel a lot less inflamed, but I don't really know what's going on there. So I did send my check-in Wednesday. He didn't make any changes Wednesday. And then, so the other thing I think I mentioned was that he really wanted me to do a lot of yoga. So I've been doing a lot of yoga, and I have been. There's only one day I skipped this week, which was Wednesday, but I've been doing at least 30 minutes to an hour of yoga every day. So he did comment on Wednesday that he felt like my posing looked better and that I had better core control, which is a much bigger topic that I'm actually going to talk about in my long anticipated, hopefully you guys still want this digestion video that will be coming. So that was that for Wednesday. And then on Friday, you know, when my weight was really up, and when I sent him the pictures, I said, you know, as I don't dislike this look as much as I would have thought I would at this weight. Like if someone said, what would your pictures look like at this weight? I would have thought they'd look terrible, but they actually looked better in some ways, in that my quads were looking a lot, or my hamstrings looked a lot fuller, which is really good at, you know, because I kind of do need to soften those up, and I'm just learning to pose a lot softer, which is also helping. I'm learning not to flex and or push much in my posing, which is definitely helping me just look softer and looking more at the condition level for the category. With all that said, there are some competitors who got on stage today who were insanely lean. So I don't know, and I don't know how they placed because it's just been prejudging, so it'll be interesting to see how those athletes placed. And again, the judges have to judge what's in front of them, and at one show, the Samson Showdown, there are a couple of competitors who are very, very lean. So it'll be interesting to see the placings and who else showed up to those shows, because I've only seen those two, so it'll be interesting to see that lineup. Either way, you know, he recommended I go see the eye doctor for my eye, which I'm like, yeah, like I don't think the eye has anything to do with my weight. It's just kind of, clearly my body was holding some inflammation. I didn't want him to, you know, I just want to give him all the information. So I sent him the picture of the two competitors who I knew were competing today that are very lean, and he said, well, they're both way too lean for the category. I'm like, well, they've been placing well. So I don't know, you know, and I'm my coach's first fit model competitor. He's not put a fit model competitor on stage. I am the first. So it's a learning experience for all of us. And to be fair, it's a learning experience for the judges and for all the other competitors. No one has a lot of experience at this. So that's kind of how the check-ins have gone this week. They've been, you know, a little bit non-traditional. And like I said, he is on vacation, so I do feel kind of bad bothering him, but at the same time, I do kind of need some direction. I have no idea what the plan will be for peak week, which is also a little bit concerning to me. In the past, my coach, a week before, usually about 10 or 12, you know, a week and a half to 2 weeks before peak week, he would send me kind of what he thought the plan would be. And of course we would make adjustments, but just so I knew what food to buy, I knew what things to have for pump up, I knew all that stuff. Won't need to pump up for this category. You don't want your muscles to be like full and popping. So maybe just a light pump, but nothing that I'll need to have like a lot of extra carbs for, I assume. Again, I don't know. So I'm feeling a little bit not sure what to expect for peak week. I actually have no idea what to expect. I have literally none. I have had no input from Aaron about what peak week might entail, aside from a slight deload on lifting. Is the only thing that he's mentioned so far. So I'm very type A. That makes me feel kind of a, you know, unsettled about how to prepare. And I'm not good at last minute. And I have a busy job, so I don't have a lot of time during the week. If something drastic needs to change or I need to make big adjustments to the plan, I just genuinely don't have time to do that sometimes. So without it just being really stressful, which I do try to avoid on peak week. So we shall see. We'll see how it goes. Either way, I'm getting on stage on Saturday. I actually finally did register. The show promoter reached out to me and said, hey, I don't see your name on the competitor list. And it was the last day to register before the price increase. So I'm like, oh yeah, like I had the page pulled up. I'm like, I'm doing it now. And I'd had the page pulled up. It was kind of one of those things I just kept forgetting, but I also have my tan booked. I'm registered. I am doing open category D. I want to be in the chance to be with the most competitors, to be compared to the most people. So I thought about entering a master's category, but that's just going to be the same people typically. So I might as well just be with everybody in the open category and just see how the chips fall or how the cookie crumbles or how the fit model walks. See how that goes. Well, that is the other thing I did not mention is that you guys saw my quick posing session. I don't know what was going on with the camera angle. It looked like something out of an Alfred Hitchcock movie. It's this camera. This camera is like self-leveling. I don't know what I did. It looked fine when I started recording, but then when I pulled the footage, it had my head chopped off and was at a cockeyed angle, so I'm not sure what happened there. Hopefully this video doesn't have that same thing happen. Who knows? I haven't edited it yet. We don't know. But I am excited. This time next week, I will be off stage. I will have done prejudging and be waiting for finals. Finals will be starting in about an hour next week, so this should be pretty interesting to see how it all goes. I'm excited to wear my pretty green suit and to get a tan. I'm excited to get a tan, especially if it's feeling like winter. It'll be nice to feel tan. So, all right. Well, thank you all for hanging out with me today and this week on my week out show day vlog. Next week will be peak week for sure. Might be show day also. We shall see. Show day might be its own, but if you have questions you want me to address about show day, about tan prep, about any of that stuff, please let me know in the comments below. Also, if you need protein bars, check out David Protein. They make great protein bars. And I will see you all here for peak week.